Today I wanted to talk about community college. If you're in high school and you're deciding between a 4 year and 2 year, I'll talk not just between those paths, but I'll talk about my experience there, some community college concerns, and just share some general insight about it. So community college, unlike it's not a university, but you can get degrees and a lot of those you could also do a transfer. So you do 2 years first, and then you could transfer out and finish a 4 years in get a 4 year degree in the next 2 years. So Community colleges are colleges. They get funding from the government, but they're not like universities. I'll kind of explain like how it's different from high school, college, and university. So some say it's like high school 2.0. Do I think it's high school 2.0? I mean, not really. It's a lot bigger than high school. There's more classes than high school. I mean, the teachers don't exactly micromanage you. They don't really like some don't know you that well, some do. Really depends on the class. But it's a lot more independent than high school. There's no like structured period. They do go by college schedules. The way you sign up for classes is exactly how you sign up for like university classes as well. They have like different pastimes, registration. It's a big system. I think it's kind of like a mini college. That's why they call it junior college. But I don't think it's like high school 2.0. You know, high schools are a lot smaller. You get to know like everyone there in high school. At community college, there's a big student body, and you don't get to know all the students. You don't get to see the same faces every day. Um, but it's not really a university either. That's what I think. Um, and let's see. There's much smaller class sizes than university lectures, homework. The material is the same. What they're really teaching in the university. It's just that you're paying a lot less for tuition. At a community college, and you're getting like the same education and possibly the same degree. So it's very good for that. You get smaller lectures. There's no like unless you go to like a city college, there's no like housing or like dorming there. So it's like, you have to live with your parents when you're like 18 or 19. So that's why they call it like high school 2.0. But yeah. And then what was I gonna say? So there's not as much funding there as compared to like a university. There's a lot less clubs, of course. There's a lot less students in general. And then there's a lot less events, less things going on in campus. The junior colleges can be pretty dead. At least like events and outside activities. There's not a whole lot of involvement there. People just want to like work, go to class, go home. And that's a lot of it's like adult life. Like when you're in high school, you're so like you're always connected to people around you. You get to know them, and all of a sudden that snaps. That goes away once you enter like community college, and at universities they're just like more clubs, more like outside of like event participation. There's just like more ways to connect with students. Like the clubs are probably more active. They're probably like more involved, hands-on, more events, easier to make friends there compared to the community college. So that's the difference between like socializing in community college and socializing in the university. Um, though I'll say this, at a university, it's still very hard to like make friends. Even through those like clubs and stuff. Not everyone makes friends and meets people. Just because they're there doesn't mean they're all friends. Um, and that's just a reality. It's still very hard, like connecting with people, and finding a group. And then the thing about the university is you're living outside. In a if you dorm, typically like the places where you live at, where you dorm, there's a bunch of students there. They're typically more communal than colleges that where you commute, or programs where you commute from. I did my MBA video, and that's like also the difference between like a full on part time MBA and a full time MBA. The part time MBA is really a commuter thing, and that's why it felt like a community college. And like the full time, you're actually like staying there. You're Again, there's like drinking, more freedom, versus you don't get that. There's less activity in community college. There's absolutely like no parties, but that doesn't mean you can't make friends. There is less socialization, but compared to like high school or even a university, but that doesn't mean you can't make friends. So the best way to make friends, you could definitely join clubs, but and then like you might have some guys like in your major, or some guys in classes where you could talk to. It's not all the best ways. Typically, if you hang out at the library, or hang out at like the tutoring centers, you'll see like some of your classmates like there, and then you could like get to talk to them and stuff, exchange numbers, and I'd say like talk to people in your classes. You could like form study groups, get exchange numbers, get lunch. Those are ways to make friends. It's kind of difficult because like when the quarter ends, so does like the relationships. People just keep on going their own ways. This is also kind of similar to university as well. So I mean, I know like there's a myth of like community college being absolutely dead, people not wanting to make friends. That's somewhat true, but you can still make friends there. It's not all that it's not all that hard, but it's not all that easy as well. And I think universities are just overrated, in terms of like friendships, socializing. Unless you're in a frat, like a business frat, social frats, it can be just as difficult. Not I don't even think I'm gonna lie. And then typically in community college, you're taking general education, you're finishing that up, some major preparatory classes, and then you're doing all your lower division classes. And then when you get to university, you would do upper division. Or you could just finish off there with a associate's degree. They do offer like the associate's college degree. It's a level lower than a bachelor's. Um, so yeah, but pretty much the syllabus is material, the way you sign up for classes. It's very very similar to universities. But universities are just more funded. They're bigger. They have more students. That's And then of course there's like dorming, housing, which community college doesn't really offer. And to be quite frank, work is like that in general. Meetups, people just kind of want to do their own thing and get out. They don't really want to be friends. So that is very very common as well. And even as I said, in the part time MBA program, it's kind of like that. I also want to add that a lot of community college students, Well, they do tend to work as well. So usually they're busy with work, their school. They tend to work a lot. Most community college students work. So yeah, they get busy with work, school, and then they tend to not have like time for socializing. That's not everyone, but that's some people, and that's kind of the nature of just a commuter program. It's like the part-time evening MBA program as well. Um, that's that. I mean, and I personally made like, I went to two community colleges. I'd say I made like a good 10 to 20 acquaintances. I mean, we're at it on Facebook, Snapchat. I don't really keep contact with any of them anymore. But I mean, yeah. So that's that. It's definitely hard making long term connections, even at universities. It's also very hard. And then what else was I gonna say? And then a lot of people too just stick with their high school friends. And there's a lot of people from like different ages probably just like taking there's a lot of people like just taking summer classes or just doing the high school the finishing high school earlier through community college or just like doing a quarter then transferring. So a lot of people are in different states as well. So that's kind of one of the reasons why there's also just a little less socializing at community college. Doesn't mean you can't make friends, but it is typically harder. Perk of going to community college is that you don't have to do an SAT or ACT. And high school could just be easier as well. You could also cut high school a little short, take junior college classes and get a high school diploma. So that's also one benefit of going to community college, and then you could finish your university a little earlier. And then another thing is, let's see. Oh, you could also get AP credit. If you take the AP course, in high school, you take the AP exam, you pass that. That could be transferred to community college. I think three is a passing score. Some universities do three, sometimes four, sometimes they don't even accept credit. So it's a perk, and I think if you get AP credit accepted, for community college you automatically get it for university.